This is Group 1's Digital Citizenship Project on online bullying and digital citizenship. StopBullying.gov states that cyberbullying is any type of bullying that happens over digital devices like cell phones, computers, and tablets. It usually happens over social media, text messages, online chat rooms, and online gaming communities. Even though that cyberbullying is different from uh, regular bullying, it also has some similarities and some differences. Technology is always available 24/7, and that means that it is easily accessible to all people. It also means that this has become one of the easiest ways for people to cause harm to others. Another difference is that traditional physical bullying is often limited to a physical space like school, playgrounds, or anywhere that there are bystanders. This means that bullying is often witnessed by other people. Cyberbullying doesn't have that face to face interaction where people can see what is happening. Oftentimes, you never know when people are victims of cyberbullying. Teachers need to be able to spot warning signs that a student may be a victim of cyberbullying. Students who are victims of cyberbullying often exhibit suicidal thoughts, expressions, personality changes, changes in physical health, loneliness, chronic unexplained absenteeism, negative self perception, change in friends, and a decline in academic performance. Data tells us that adolescent girls are just as likely, if not more likely, than boys to experience cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is related to low self esteem, suicidal ideation, anger, frustration, and other factors. Cyberbullying is related to real world issues such as school problems, antisocial behaviors, substance use and abuse, and delinquency. Cyberbullying is not as common as traditional bullying. Cyberbullying and traditional bullying are closely related. Students who are bullied at school are also bullied online, and the ones who bully at school also bully online. Students with these prevalent social media apps have a higher chance of experiencing cyberbullying than others. As a child's age increased, the likelihood of them experiencing cyberbullying did too. Children from households with annual incomes of under $75,000 were twice as likely to be a victim of cyberbullying than those of households over $75,000. In 2020, 44% of all internet users experienced some type of online bullying or harassment. The most common harassment was name calling. Name calling makes up 37% of all harassments.
Digital citizenship matters. It prevents cyberbullying, protects personal privacy, navigating internet safely, enhances digital literacy, fosters online communities, and builds positive professional reputation. What is online safety? Online safety protects personal data, identifies scams, and avoids viruses. Empathy and respect combats cyberbullying and encourages healthy online communication. Information literacy identifies misinformation, develop critical thinking skills, and recognizes AI and biases. Reputation management is a concept of digital footprints. To understand posts are permanent and may impact future academic or career opportunities. Digital citizenship helps reduce cyberbullying. It builds empathy to evaluate emotional impact of words before posting, understanding consequences and legal repercussions of harassment, preventing escalation, and encouraging intervention, supporting targeted peers, using reporting tools, and standing up to bullies. Consider this. How can we as educators help students understand the severity and effects of cyberbullying?
Consider carefully the following example. Over the weekend, an anonymous Instagram account is created called Roasted Panther. The account targets 3 students in the 8th grade and 1 faculty member, features several slurs and hateful comments. AI has even been used to modify images of the students and faculty member to remove clothing and pose them in ways in which they are in pain. There are captions under these images about how they deserve this. Monday at school, students are talking about the account, and one of the students even feels unsafe enough to check out of school early in fear. You're the principal, and many stakeholders are pressuring you to do something. A student claims that another student, Alex, has unaltered pictures that the AI could have been made from on his phone. She is adamant that she not be named. She doesn't want any retaliation to come back on her. Alex, of course, denies it. And then what are you left to do as the administrator? This scenario is all too real for too many of our schools. In 2008, it was reported that while cyberbullying is very present for modern students, less than 10% report it. This is because they're either worried about their own loss of privileges at home, or maybe that the bullying itself will be made worse with retaliation after they've been turned in. Even when it's reported, schools face these ethical issues of disciplining students for bullying outside of using the school devices or school hours, or even trying to chase down anonymous posts. To assist with these challenges, the Jamar Terrell Williams Student Bullying Prevention Act in Alabama mandates really strict enforcement of anti bullying policies in Alabama public schools. It even allows schools to discipline individuals for events that happened outside of the school day. They have to meet some qualifications. They have to substantially disrupt the educational process. They have to threaten students or create a hostile educational environment, much like the example that we just talked about.
How can we combat cyberbullying? One way we can combat cyberbullying is through reporting, blocking, or saving the evidence. One effective way that the victim can receive help is through saving the evidence that the bully has sent by saving screenshots, messages, usernames, dates, and other evidence. The second way we can combat cyberbullying is by promoting positive and respectful online behavior. Schools can enforce this through teaching schools and children and families that digital citizenship, kindness, empathy, and responsible technology use so students understand that online actions can have serious real life consequences. How can we promote good citizenship? First, we can practice safe and responsible online behavior. A good digital citizen protects personal information and makes careful choices online. They should think before posting because pictures, comments, and videos can become part of a permanent digital footprint. Second, we can show respect and use information ethically. Good digital citizenship means treating others with kindness and respect online. Students should avoid hurtful comments, report inappropriate behavior, and give credit when someone is using someone else's words, pictures, or ideas. They should also check whether information is accurate by sharing it so they do not spread rumors or misinformation.
It's not all up to our leaders in our school building. In one case study presented in Edutopia in 2014, students actually took the lead because students know best how to communicate authentically with their peers. They were able to break the system of bullying in their own school community. Here is that case study.
Once you gain your students' trust, if you can give them something that's just a little beyond their reach, then they will go way farther than you ever expected. And they will be hooked into that because every kid wants to achieve.
Me having an idea alone is not going to make as much as a difference as 10 kids having an idea and putting that to life.
The students decided that they wanted to have this campaign against bullying, and they created a logo and a slogan, and the slogan was "Break the System." So their idea was that bullying is the system of bad things that kind of happen between victims and perpetrators, between bullies and the people that they bully. So the idea was if they could get control of this thing by teaching people to break the system, then things would start to get a little bit better for people. In order to make this belong to the kids, I started off by starting with how they were feeling. And things started coming out, like I experienced bullying at this time, or I saw a kid get bullied and it made me feel like this, or even I feel like a really bad person right now because I've seen what things that I've done could have done to somebody else. I think one of the most important things for making something belong to the kids is letting them talk. Don't follow anyone's footsteps. Where's the find someone that's confident stuff? Yeah, that's when the kids feel connected to the material, they engage in it. And when they engage in it, they participate in a whole different way. I think the other way that kids really participate and they become participants is when you hand over the onus of learning to them. Kids learn so much more when they're talking to each other. They learn so much more when they're working through a problem together. They learn so much more when the feedback comes from each other rather than from this higher power that they hear from all the time.
The things that were good about it was the collaborative aspect of it, how we were all able to talk together and make a huge way for teachers and students to learn with each other about not bullying.
Starting at a place of collaboration, finding the common ground, is a place to build that collaboration, and it becomes a form of inclusion, because when you have kids collaborating on big projects, on big issues, on solving big problems, then the kids who might not normally have the strength in a situation, their strengths come out.
I was scared that this wasn't going to work like we wanted it to, but it did. Like, it really taught me lots of things, not only like as a person, but as a kid.
The thing I like the most about the class model is I really like that everything's contextualized. I feel like my students have connected a lot with that, and the fact that they have this reason, this impetus for figuring things out, and then on top of it, I think it's really nice to be at a school where we're expected to have students collaborate, because I really learned the value of collaboration for kids and how much of a difference that makes for them in learning.
Preventing Cyberbullying Strategy 1. Core prevention steps for parents and guardians. One step for parents and guardians to help prevent cyberbullying is to educate their children early. Informing children early on digital citizenship and online empathy, and also making children aware of their online footprints, letting them know that anything that they say, anything that they do, any video that they put out on social media has digital footprints. And although they may delete it, it may never be erased. Guardians and parents can also set boundaries. Setting boundaries on all social media platforms to private, and also setting time limits on phones and tablets and other devices can limit the amount of time that children spend on social media. The third step is to monitor. Parents and guardians should always keep an eye on online interactions. Keep an eye out for major shifts in their children's behavior or emotional shifts, and also use built-in tools like blocking, muting, and reporting mechanisms that report back to them when something seems a little fishy. The last step is to enforce. When they do this, they are able to establish clear rules and immediate consequences for unacceptable online behavior. And they are also able to establish open, judge-free communication so that their children feel safe to report to them when something does not seem right. Schools are helping to combat cyberbullying through the Alabama Disabilities Advocacy Program. The Jamari Terrell Williams Student Bullying Prevention Act, which was established in 2018, seeks to prevent student bullying, intimidation, violence, and threats of violence in Alabama public schools. Also, school systems like Albertville City Schools teach bullying prevention through classroom guidance and lessons that cover communication, problem solving, conflict resolution, emotion management, and how to recognize and respond to bullying. You may view more about these programs in the links provided.
Okay, our second strategy for preventing cyberbullying is called the recognize, respond, report, support approach. So, the first thing that you want to do is recognize if it's cyberbullying. So, the first thing would be learn the signs of cyberbullying. This might include repeated insults towards somebody, or if you're getting those insults, threats that could be death threats or any other type of threat. Um, Rumors that are going around about somebody or sharing private information without your permission. Um, when you're also recognizing this, it's important to encourage others to think before posting or commenting online, because once that goes out there, that's public. And even if you delete it, you still can't take that back. The next thing would be to respond, and that's by avoiding responding with anger, because it can escalate the situation at hand. So once you have recognized that it is cyberbullying and you have to respond to the situation, and you don't want to respond immediately with anger because you can regret things that you say, you need to sit down and think about what a resolution is first. Um, Also, on the respond section would be to save all evidence by screenshotting or keeping all conversations, because once somebody has deleted something, they can always go back and say, oh, I never said that, or I never posted that. And if you don't have proof about it, then it can just be dismissed without the situation being fixed. The next one would be to report. So use your reporting and blocking tools. That's what they're there for. If the situation isn't extreme, you can report something. If you see somebody else making a bad comment, you can report that comment. You can report a fake account that's saying bad things about you. You can block accounts. Usually when you block an account, you can't see their profile and they can't see your profile. So that way you've cut out them commenting anything bad, looking at your page at all, or having any contact with you. Talk to somebody that you trust. That could be an adult, a teacher, a parent, school counselor, or even a coworker if it's happening to somebody that's older. The most important thing is to tell somebody, though. Do not keep it to yourself. The last one is to support. If you're not the one that's being targeted, be sure and check on the person that is being targeted. If you know them, if it's a classmate, if it's a close friend, be sure and check on them. How are you doing? How are you feeling? How can I help? What can I do in this situation? And the last thing for support would be to promote respectful online behavior and stand up against bullying by always reporting abusive content instead of joining in or standing by, because standing by and letting the bullying happen is just as bad as joining in. For our second cyberbullying strategy, the recognize, respond, report, support approach, this is just a possible scenario to look over. So let's just say a student notices that a classmate is posting hurtful comments and they've edited a photo of another student in a group chat. So what can you do? You can avoid liking or sharing the post.
privately message the targeted student and offer support. So message that student and say, hey, are you okay? What can I do to help? Take screenshots of the bullying. Even if it's not happening to you, you're seeing it and you need to report it. So make sure you screenshot and you have evidence, because the second somebody deletes it, it's gone. And like I said before, that can be dismissed and then the problem can't be resolved. Report the abusive post to the platform and notify a teacher or school counselor. So not only telling a teacher or somebody else, but also reporting it on that app, whether it's like when I think about a group chat in this situation, I think about GroupMe, the app GroupMe. You can report on there so that group chat is reported about the situation that's happening. And then the last thing is to encourage your friends to stop participating and remind them to treat others respectfully online. So if you have a friend that's liking the cyberbullying, if you're hearting any of the messages, if you're responding, you can be associated and have consequences. So it's important to encourage your friends to always be kind and respectful to others on the internet. And then these are just a few additional tips to keep in mind as you are on the web. Number one is keep social media accounts private when possible. I think this is really important, even if you are an adult. I try to keep all of my accounts private. That way you don't have any creepy people on your page. You don't have people that you know are out to get you or don't like you or on your page looking for something to pick out about you. Use strong passwords and enable two-factor authentication to prevent account misuse. I know for UWA we use a Duo, and then also my county at the school I work at, we also use Duo to get into our accounts. Think carefully before sharing personal information online. Once you put it out there on the internet, it stays there forever. Even if it is deleted, a lot of times people can go back to recently deleted things and find information, if your birthday, if your address, even if you're posting pictures just out with your friends and you're showing the restaurant you're at, somebody's out there and they know where you're at that time. So it's important to think about what you put out online. The last thing would be to foster a culture of kindness by complimenting others and addressing conflicts respectfully. So that means that if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. If you want to comment on somebody's post, it needs to be nice, it needs to be respectful. And if you can't say something nice or respectful, you need to keep scrolling, or you need to get off that page, or you need to block that person. That way that you don't become a bully yourself.
In conclusion, advocating against online bullying and promoting good digital citizenship are essential for creating safer and more respectful online spaces. Everyone has a responsibility to use technology in a safe, legal, and ethical way. By speaking up against cyberbullying and making responsible choices online, we can help prevent harm before it spreads. Positive online behavior can create stronger digital communities where everyone feels included and respected. Ultimately, the way we behave online should reflect the same kindness and responsibility we are expected to show in person.